Dear brothers and sisters, you're welcome to attend our normal programs on our online television, which is Gospel Alive British Africa. But before heading on this program, I would like to introduce myself. My names are Dr. Robert Jackson. I serve under this ministry as a director, but also I'm one of the facilitators who provides you to different programs. So without losing our time, I would like today to charge you on a subject which is self-evaluation. When we talk about self-evaluation, what do we mean? To evaluate something, it's a process. It starts from somewhere up to make an evaluation. Every evaluation is whereby you can either reply or you can plan to go ahead. When you replan, it means that you have to go back to see where you did some faults, or there are some barriers which did make you not succeed effectively. But biblically, I would like to charge you one of the commandments, which is very important to my life and even to your life. But I'll read about 2 or 3 verses from Mark 12 onwards. But by starting Mark 12, I want to see the most important commandment, which is addressed by the Bible. And from there, we are going to pick one to demonstrate on how to make self-evaluation. But you are sticking on biblical ethics, not anymore. So I'm going to read Mark 12, verse 28 to 31. It reads, one of the teachers of the religious law was standing there listening to the debate. He realized that Jesus had answered well. So there was a debate whereby Jesus was being asked some questions. And so from this is whereby one of the listeners took his time to listen carefully, and he came to realize that Jesus was answered the questions as well as it was expected to be. So he asked, of all the commandments, which is the most important? So one of the questions was to see which is very important commandments, and sometimes we do mix up the laws and the commandment. So here I want to stick on the commandments, but before that I would like to elaborate to you what is the law and what's the commandment. In a normal sense, a law can have some parts which is either elaborative areas or which can lead you to take a certain meaning thoroughly or properly. For instance, in a law, you can scrut inside or from it to get the bylaws. And from the bylaws, you can make the regulations. But on about the commandment is just a say which is fixed. No any discussion. It's a commandment. It's just a single say. It's just a must that there's no any discussion. So the difference is that under laws, you can have some reflections which can take you to the meaning. But on the purpose of the commandment is just straight away. No discussion about it. So this is how God, of course, applied on his commandments to show that there is no discussion. ABC must be ABC. No, anything will be more than that. So, I go on the reading. Jesus replied, the most important commandment is this. Listen. O Israel, the Lord our Lord is the one and only Lord. 30. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. That's first. The second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. No one commandment is greater than this. Which means, out of the 10 commandments which will be given in the Bible, the stronger one, the strongest are these which I've read here. But my side, I want to stick on the second, which says, the second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. What is to love you yourself? You will never love yourself if you have not conducted anymore such kind of evaluation. To have self-evaluation, it can lead you sometimes to shape yourself. It can lead you to keep in a side whereby you have to see in the community, in the society where you live, how do they perceive you? So without conducting self-evaluation, it's very, very, very difficult to match with what the equal neighbor would like you to make as you are making yourself. So what do we mean here when we say this? When you conduct a self-evaluation, there are some steps. First of all, you must have your vision. Apart from having the vision, you must have your mission. Out of this, you must have a goal. Out of this, you must have objectives. Out of this, you must have activities. But two things very important is time bound or time management. How are you going to manage this kind of? And then from there must be some resources. Time is one of the resources, and even manpower. In our case, the manpower is yourself. So from there, when you come to implementation, is how you're going to keep the results on how you want to make clearly the self-evaluation. There must be a vision, I said. There must be a mission, a goal, objectives, and activities. This is the whole life you have to stand with. So from here, when we say that, how are you going to pick an evaluation point to keep you smart? It's like this. Every kind of a project, every kind of an activity which is implemented must have its results. And sometimes the results must not be very important. Either if you plan in the wrong way, it's how you're going to keep the results in the wrong answers. But if keep your program in the right way, it's how you are going to keep also the right impact. And we'll see how it goes. So what we mean here, we mean that we should show our impacts on how we evaluate, on how we keep ourselves in the right way so that we can also share with our neighbors. And who is a neighbor? A neighbor is every person. A neighbor is who is close to you, regardless if it's your relative or not. It might be an enemy. That's your neighbor. You can't escape this. Because a neighbor is who is so close. You must have your relatives, but they are so far away from your place or from far of your mind. So you mean that a friend of your mind right away is your neighbor. If something happens, the first person to secure is a neighbor, because it's the one who is so close to you. So what we mean when we say that, love yourself as you may keep this also to your neighbor, you must create a self-evaluation. And sometimes people do confuse what is an evaluation. Evaluation is not monitoring. Some kind of information had been implemented in the wrong way, that monitoring is like evaluation. But monitoring is how you monitor your life circulation. It's how you monitor, you make a follow-up on your general life. And if you keep that, you will see the differences from time to time. So after having this, which is a frequency monitoring, is whereby now you can end up with self-evaluation. So what do we mean by monitoring? Always when you live in a certain place, when you stay in any kind of, please make sure that you monitor. You follow your deeds. You follow your daily activities. You follow your daily life in order to make sure that in the society you stay, in the society you live, it keeps you to be free to whoever. Because if you are wrong, if you are against, it's whereby going to keep yourself in problems. So if you don't make a self-evaluation, you always think that you're right, but you're wrong in that society. So the meaning of this is that if you keep yourself in the right way, is whereby you can keep yourself into being smart. But how do we keep it smart? We are born in nature. What do we mean here? Every person had been born having 4 temperaments. The 4 temperaments are like this. We have sanguines, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatics. These are steps of some kind of behavior which are found in our life. Every person has got this. But from this, a person, you might have one which wins the others. This one is whereby we are going to categorize you that you in this nature, in this type. But at least there is another one which falls here. It is very rare to find a person who has got 4 temperaments at once, all 3 at once. But normally the 2 are beating each other. But there must be one which is upper than the other one. So from the upper one, it's whereby people are going to categorize you are like this. For instance, you might be a sanguine who is so free to whoever. But sometimes that freedom can exceed the nature. So you have to shape in order to rectify yourself, to become in the right way so that the community society you stay is balancing with you. In this matter, there is another behavior which is not traits. Traits is a madman behavior. What is this? The madman behavior is like what I'm saying. In African culture, especially in our areas, you find the children within the house, the children in the family, they became to be naked. I mean, they've given some names, they've given some titles, etc. For instance, in African culture, you can find a mom or a mother with some kids. He calls or she calls his son, "You dog, come here." So that you keep this matter, you keep this person, you keep this kid to think himself or herself that being here in the house, I look like a dog. And sometimes we nickname by, "Oh, you're a king, you're my brother, you're my uncle." It's a kid. So from there, himself, he or she separates himself to see that I'm so important because within this family, I'm the uncle of this family. And he loses the others to keep aside. So these are known as trait behavior. From trait behavior, we come now to see this the general character. So from that general character is how you can see or you can perceive you generally. You look like this. That's your character. But maintain the 3 ones is whereby now you can see your personality, where is. But if you have got the personality, you have to maintain it in a smooth way. You have to make it smart. So to make smart is how to evaluate yourself. You should not keep smart if you are not evaluating yourself. To keep smart is not only for dressing good dresses, or having good shoes, having good watch, whatever. No. It's how you maintain your behavior, character, and even temperament. It's how you keep your smartness to be from the country, to be from your society, to be from your family, etc., etc. So, if you see that I'm so smart myself, it's how the Bible tells us that you have also to acquire this kind of behavior, the smartness to your neighbor, in order to create harmony, to create peace. By so doing, every person one-to-one and the others country to country will never having some quarrel. We're having now the peaceful life in the world. So, to my side, I stick on the second one, to love each one, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So please, from today, make sure that you have to evaluate, you have to keep self-evaluation at your own in order to maintain the behavior roles which I mentioned above, to see how you maintain them in a smart way. If we do that, even the Bible will at least become a good article to direct us in a general life. So my dear, I would like to share with you this evening that having this kind of self-evaluation is whereby now you can imitate this behavior to another one. It's how you can induce your behavior to another one. But if you see that you are so reluctant, it is so difficult for you to change this behavior, please try to consult the other people. For the Christians, the pastors, evangelists, etc., etc., see them in order to show you how to shape yourself. To shape yourself is how you can now change the behavior. Nobody is made to be reluctant. No. That's why given time to pray. That's why given time to ask God in order to rescue. Jesus died on the cross in order to rescue our lives. So from that matter, we have to change. And that's why daily service, we do worship. We do kneel down and pray from God in order to make what? The good rescue from God. So, my dear, this evening I would like to encourage you. I would like to share with you this kind of self-evaluation should be the first thing to your life. Don't forget to evaluate yourself. Don't forget to share the evaluation which you have made in order to make sure that even your neighbor can enjoy with you. So, I end up by saying thank you very much for attention, and I would like you to change your behavior from today. But remember to conduct self-evaluation before anything. Thank you very much.